Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss strategies to repair and maintain roof assets during the COVID-19 pandemic. My name is BJ Groaning. I'm a roof consultant with Benchmark, and I'm very happy to have all of you join us today. Now, like many of you, I am working from home during this situation, so I do want to start off with a pre-apology because there is a higher than average chance that you will hear a very inquisitive, yet very cute little 3-year-old girl at some point during this presentation. Now, she may be telling me she needs a snack. She might tell me she needs to go potty, or she may just want to yell at me because I'm not playing with her. Either way, if any of these things happen, I will quickly pivot to my partner, Ben, and we will move forward without skipping a beat. I promise. So obviously, we're in a little bit of an unprecedented time right now, and keeping our facilities in working condition and free of process delay is of the utmost importance while we try to remain as productive as possible. Having a plan for stopping leaks and maintaining your assets will become essential as the pandemic moves us towards a new normal. Our intent with the first presentation of this webinar series is to provide you with a strategy for stopping water intrusion into your facilities and for using the appropriate methods to do so. Now, as we progress through this webinar series over the next 5 weeks, we will cover the following topics at 11 a.m. Central each week. On April 23rd, we'll be discussing roof evaluation, reduce cost, extend asset life, and manage risk through proper planning and evaluation. On April 30th, project interruption. Are you at risk of missing out on building your roof or pavement projects in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic? On May 7th, we'll discuss pavement management, 3 strategies to manage your pavement assets cost effectively. On May 14th, we'll discuss roof design, the critical first step to long-term roof performance. On May 21st, we'll discuss pavement rehabilitation design goals, extend asset life, and reduce the risk of total reconstruction. These topics are all designed to help you understand your options, the best practices, and the possible ramifications on projects because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, ultimately, we do want you to have a better understanding of the roof and pavement construction industry as a whole, and essentially how to navigate it during this time. Presenting with me today will be my good friend and colleague, Mr. Ben Fiedler. Ben is a registered roof observer, and he's been with Benchmark for over 5 years now. Ben is a key team member, project manager, and consultant to some of our largest food manufacturing and pulp and paper manufacturing clients. Not only has Ben one of our consultants, but he's also acting as a liaison between the consultant and the IT department. As I mentioned earlier, my name is BJ Groaning, and I've been a roof consultant at Benchmark for the last 6.5 years. I've spent approximately 18 years in the roofing industry, 25 if you count running shingles up and down ladders for my family's roofing company. And one thing that's really helped me significantly is that I previously worked in the roofing industry for a roofing contractor, a roofing material manufacturer, and now a consulting firm. So who is Benchmark? Well, we are an independent, third-party consulting firm that specializes in asset management for roofs and pavement. We operate out of 2 main offices in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Waukesha, Wisconsin, but we also have 21 satellite locations located throughout the country. We've been helping our clients with roof and pavement consulting for over 30 years by providing condition assessments, designing roof replacement specifications, participating in construction phase services, developing roof asset management programs, including various types of testing and leak management services. But our ultimate goals are to reduce long-term roofing costs and maximizing roof service life while reducing risk to people, property, and operations. We do want to give you a general course overview and discuss a few housekeeping items. But the main goal for this course is essentially to prepare you to make appropriate repairs on your roofs at a time when you may find it difficult to get a contractor out to your facility. Beyond the COVID-19 pandemic making it difficult to get contractors out, there are many other factors that we're going to have to consider in the near future. The existing backlogs of roofers, material manufacturers, and design professionals are expected to be substantial because of work that was already planned for but never started. Additionally, because limited work is being completed right now, we have to expect a tidal wave of new work coming in all at the same time after COVID-19. So you as an owner need to have a plan for emergency leak response, even if it has to be performed in-house, because we don't know how long it's going to be before typical workloads normalize. Included in our presentation, we will discuss temporary roof repairs for single-ply roof systems and modified bitumen and built-up roof systems. We will talk about the intention of these repairs or why you might want to perform them in a certain way. We will talk about how to get the appropriate materials to make these repairs. We will talk about how to track your repairs and why that's so important. And finally, we will talk about safety or the personal protective equipment you may want to consider when making roof repairs. Now, please do me a favor and ask all questions using the question pane on the right-hand side of your screen. It's a little question mark inside of a talking bubble. At the end of the session, we will have a Q&A available. And one final note, we only have about 30 minutes today, and I really want us to focus on the visual portion of the presentation where Ben is actually going to be demonstrating the repair techniques that we'll be talking about. So I may speak a little faster than normal, and if we go over our allotted time, I do apologize, but we will stay on for as long as it takes to answer all of your questions, and if you need to go, we will respond via email. We've talked a little bit about repairs you may have to make in-house with your own personnel, but I think it's important to remember what is the intention of these repairs you'll be making. Obviously, the intention is to keep water out of your facility, but to really answer that, we have to think about what you'll be capable of doing with the limited amount of time you will have. Your goal should not be to make the most perfect repair of all time that will last for a long time. Your goal should be to put a repair down that will act as a stopgap until your contractor can get there. I don't care if you have to cover a puncture with duct tape. Anything you can do to stop water from pouring into your factory is going to be beneficial, not just for stopping water coming in, but also from stopping water from damaging the underlying insulation. If water just continues to keep pouring in over and over again, you're going to saturate your insulation, and that saturated area is going to grow with time. Ultimately, you're going to end up paying a contractor to do a repair where he's removing that insulation and then putting new insulation back. The bigger the saturated area, the more expensive the cost is going to be. Now, if you are lucky enough to be in a situation where it's not a total emergency, your options need to be a little bit more calculated. In an emergency situation, you are definitely not likely to ruin your roof warranty by making an emergency repair. However, we don't know how long it will be until we can get a professional roofing contractor on site, and we want that repair to work properly until a permanent patch can be installed. Therefore, it would still be beneficial to install an appropriate roof patch when water intrusion is taking place. There are definitely warranty considerations to keep in mind. The roof warranty is very specific with the language in it, so we absolutely encourage you to know and understand the language in the warranty. As a former material manufacturer's representative, I can tell you that warranty you get was written by the manufacturer's attorney to protect the manufacturer, not to protect you. So being cognizant of their requirements is very important. In general, to make repairs, make them with materials that are similar to the roof membrane. Having the appropriate repair materials on hand is critical if you need to make repairs on a roof yourself. You really don't want to get into a situation where you need to make a repair on an asphaltic built-up roof and all you have is peel and stick EPDM. It's just not going to work. In many cases, you can get the supplies you need from a large home improvement box store. They will not necessarily be from the same manufacturer as your roof, but they should have similar materials for use in an emergency. In order to get the manufacturer's approved products, you will most likely have to go through a specialty roofing supply store or through your roofing contractor. Yet another great reason to maintain a good working relationship with your roofing contractor. In order to know what type of material you're going to need for the repairs, you will have to have a good understanding of what type of roof you currently own. The type of repair you make depends on the type of roof you have. So let's talk a little bit about the type of roof system you have and how to identify it. For the purpose of this presentation, we are primarily going to be focusing on the two most common types of low-slope roof system, single-ply roofs and asphaltic or bitumen-based roofs. If you have a unique roof system or an atypical material that's used, please feel free to call or email me directly, and I'll be more than happy to review your repair options with you. Now, obviously, metal roofs stand out pretty easily to see. Shingle roofs, clay tile roofs all stand out pretty easily, but single-ply roofs can be very difficult to identify sometimes. Let's quickly talk about the ways that you can identify the type of roof you have. So the main single-ply roofs that you're going to be able to see are TPO, or thermopolyolefin, EPDM, ethylene propylene diene monomer, or PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Now, to identify these, there's a basic rule you can follow that will get you in a pretty good spot. EPDM roofs tend to be black, although they do make white membranes as well, and the TPO or PVC roofs tend to be white. And again, they do make different shades of color for those as well, but those are the typical colors you will find. Now, luckily for us, it doesn't matter that much what kind of roof you have for a single-ply repair purpose if you're making it in-house, because basically we're going to make that repair the same way on all three roofs. Now, it will be important for your contractor to have an exact understanding of what kind of membrane it is, because when they put the permanent repair patch down, it has to be with a like material. TPO will not weld to PVC or EPDM. PVC will not weld to EPDM or TPO, and EPDM will not stick very well to TPO or PVC. Peel and stick EPDM will, however, stick to all three for a limited time, typically. So please make sure you note that limited time and the typically parts that I just noted there, because that will really, again, tell you how important it is to get a contractor out to make a permanent repair. So although there are caveats to all these general notes, the main thing you will do is use a peel and stick EPDM membrane for repairs here. For the peel and stick types of repairs, cleaning will be essential. You must clean the membrane thoroughly in order to get the adhesive from the peel and stick repair membrane to stick properly. Additionally, once you have removed the release paper from the back of the membrane, you have to apply it to the area and roll it in place with a weighted hand roller. It's a little different if you have an asphalt or a bitumen-based roof. If you have an asphalt or bitumen-based roof, you're typically going to be looking at the surfacing first. A built-up roof, you will typically see a surface of aggregate or gravel embedded in asphalt. And on the modified bitumen roofs, you're typically going to find granules that are white or gray in nature, or a roof coating as a surfacing. All these options are there to help reduce UV exposure to the underlying black asphalt-based materials. Modified bitumen roofs also tend to look like a big rolled up shingle. For in-house repair purposes, you are going to have a much more intensive repair with these roofs than you will with other systems. Cleaning the area is typically more difficult, especially if you have to spud gravel or aggregate away from it first. And you're going to have to do a more intensive repair because you're going to be putting a 5-course application of hand-applied asphaltic mastic or roof cement and fiberglass mesh. Now, Ben is going to demonstrate all these repairs shortly, but essentially with the asphalt 5-course repair, you're going to be spreading the mastic over the membrane puncture, embedding mesh into it for reinforcement, covering it with more mastic, adding more mesh, and then finally adding one more layer of mastic on top. If you have made it this far, I applaud you. You are in rare company and ahead of the industry. Very few people have the time or the expertise needed to complete proper repairs on their own roofs. You do need to track a few things when attempting to make repairs on your own, though. First and foremost, you will want to track all leak locations on a roof plan. Trust me, as things start getting hectic and we're working without full capacity, you may have to take on a workload that is larger than normal. Leak location tracking will ensure that you don't forget about leaks that were coming into the building, and it's also going to prevent further possible warranty claims due to negligence. Next, if you are actually making the repairs in-house, we suggest tracking where you made the repair on a roof plan. Additionally, you should be marking the leak location or the roof deficiency that you found on the actual roof membrane with various materials like spray paint, a Sharpie, or a crayon. Marking the deficiencies will help your contractor find the areas where they need to make a permanent repair, and it will also provide evidence that you did your due diligence in maintaining warranty requirements. And by the way, photos are always suggested to accompany anything you're doing. I talked a little bit about having a roof plan there to work from, and when you're making repairs on leaks, the roof plan doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be as simple as a hand-drawn rectangle that shows identifiable markers on the roof. It can also be an aerial image from Google Earth. Or you can get a professionally drawn roof plan from Benchmark. It has exact details on every penetration on the roof with measurements and section designations. But ultimately, anything you can do to record where the issues are coming from is going to help you in the long run. So with all those thoughts in mind, I am going to now turn it over to Ben for the actual demonstrations on how to make these repairs that we discussed. Ben is going to take what I mentioned and expand upon it with a visually showing you the proper techniques.
Thank you for that introduction. It is important to wear the proper PPE while you make these repairs. Some of the PPE you may need to wear include safety glasses, a hard hat, a safety vest, knee pads, cut-resistant gloves for when you are cutting material, as well as chemical-resistant gloves for while you are handling solvents. Because you will be working on a roof, it is important to also have the required fall protection equipment. While you are making these repairs, please make sure you are following all facility, OSHA, and local requirements as far as personal protective equipment goes. I will be showing you repair techniques on PVC, TPO, EPDM, and asphalt-based roof systems. First, let me show you the differences between these membranes. This membrane is PVC. As you can see, the membrane is white, the surface is smooth, and the back of the membrane has a light texture. Different manufacturers will have different appearances, and not all products will look identical. This membrane is TPO. As you can see, it is also white. The back is also black. However, there is a stronger checkered pattern on the back of the TPO membrane. Additionally, when you are handling large pieces, TPO is a lot more rigid. It is known as being boardy, whereas PVC is much more flexible and not nearly as stiff. There are many causes of roof leaks, and these repairs should address the majority of them. One example may be is a HVAC contractor is on your roof and they happen to drop a screwdriver. As you can see, we now have a hole in the membrane. The first step is to clean the surface of the roof membrane. I will be using a green environmentally friendly cleaner to clean the surface as it is not heavily soiled. Spray the roof surface down until it is adequately saturated and take a clean, dry rag and wipe the dirt away. The next step is to identify the best type of sealant to apply. As you can see, I have several different types of sealant available. If at all possible, avoid use of silicone sealants. While silicone sticks to most materials, most other materials cannot stick to it. As a result, the permanent repair your contractor will install may have adhesion issues if you use silicone. We recommend the use of a high-quality polyurethane sealant. MP1 is one example. I will now take the polyurethane sealant and apply it to the puncture. As you can see, I am applying an adequate amount to cover the puncture. When applying caulking, it is important to work the caulking into the surface of the roof. You can use a stick, a gloved hand, or available at home centers are pre-made silicone caulking tools. I will take this caulking and work it around so that it fully adheres into the roof membrane surface. Unfortunately, with caulking repairs, they are not cosmetically attractive. However, this can also help identify the repair for future permanent repairs. You now need to mark the repair location. I will be using a Sharpie on this white membrane. You can see here the completed repair. While it is not an attractive repair, it will remain watertight for a little while. Next, we will move on to using peel and stick roof patches. Peel and stick membrane is available in a wide variety of membrane types, including EPDM, TPO, and butyl. We will be using an EPDM peel and stick membrane to repair an EPDM membrane. Here is the EPDM membrane. As you can see, there is a fine layer of dust, and we will want to thoroughly clean the membrane prior to installing the patch. For this repair, I will be using Goof Off, as well as a Scotch-Brite pad to adequately clean the area. First, apply a liberal amount to the membrane around the puncture. Next, use the Scotch-Brite pad to scrub the membrane to work free any loose dirt, dust, or other debris. Make sure to keep the area adequately wet with solvent. Once you have scrubbed the roof area, next, wet the area down again and use a clean, dry cloth to remove the loosened debris. We now have a cleaned area that is ready for a patch. One thing to note, while we are using various cleaning chemicals, it is best to use the appropriate cleaner from the membrane manufacturer. If you are working with a contractor, they may be able to provide the proper membrane cleaner. Before you apply the peel and stick membrane to the surface, you need to apply a primer. Once again, I will be using a Scotch-Brite pad to make the application. First, I will apply the primer to the surface and work the primer around, making sure to apply an even, adequate coating of primer. After you have applied the primer and allowed it to dry, you should be able to touch the surface of the primer without strings coming off. The surface will be slightly sticky. Peel and stick membrane comes in a roll form, and a quick trick to cut a perfect square is to lay the membrane down flat and fold it into a triangle. At this point, you'll be able to mark a line of where you need to cut. That will result in a square shape being created. I'm cutting the membrane using a pair of scissors. However, you can also use a utility knife. Once the patch is cut, it is important to round the corners. Rounding the corners will help prevent the patch from being peeled off. Once you have the patch prepared, the next step is to remove the paper backing. As you can see, I have started peeling the paper backing off of one leading edge. I will now attach that section to the roof. Place the exposed portion on the primer and it will instantly stick. Next, pull the patch backwards, grab the paper backing, and begin to pull the paper off. As you do, the patch will lay neatly onto the roof area. At this point, you need to work the patch into the primer. The correct tool for the job is a neoprene roller. However, you can also use the backing paper to help rub the membrane into place. I will use the roller. Once again, when you are completed, mark the repair area so that a contractor can find it at a later date. Our final repair type is on asphalt-based roof systems. We will be using roof cement for these repairs. One note, roof cement is incredibly sticky. As one of our consultants, Lee Hines, would say, don't mention the name roof cement over the phone. It is so sticky, it can travel over the phone wires. As with all of our repair methods, the first step is to clean the surface. On modified bitumen-based systems, the first step is often to just brush away any loose granules. Once we have the roof area cleaned, the next step is to cut reinforcement fabric to fit over the repair area. We will be doing a 5-course repair, which means we will be applying 3 coats of mastic and 2 layers of reinforcement fabric. I will go ahead and cut the 2 areas of fabric now. Once we have the fabric cut, mark on the roof area the outline of the fabric. This will help you identify how much mastic to apply and the total area required. When we apply the mastic, we will want to extend beyond the area covered by the fabric. However, we do not want to get too carried away. Roof cement is available in a caulking tube as well as in a pail. The caulking tubes work great to repair single punctures. However, they do not cover that much area. If you have several repairs to make, it will be much more economical to use a bucket of mastic. Next, we will take some roof cement from the bucket and start to apply it to the roof area. As you can see, this black substance is very thick and tends to stick to everything except for the roof area. That is because the granules are designed to be non-stick and don't naturally want the mastic to be stuck. However, if you work the mastic in, it will bind. It is just important to make sure to work the edges so that it is fully adhered. As you can see, I am applying a thin coat of mastic. You do not want to apply an excessive amount of mastic as it is not dimensionally stable and tends to crack. That is the purpose of the reinforcement fabric, to prevent cracking of the mastic. Once we have the first layer of mastic applied, we will then apply the reinforcement fabric. A trick to keep it from getting on your hands is to fold it and then press the center into the mastic. If you move it around a little bit, it will adequately bind. At this point, you can then take your trowel and finish embedding it into the first layer of mastic. Once the first layer is fully embedded, you can begin to apply the next layer of mastic. Because we are not sticking into granules, you will not need nearly as much. When applying the mastic, think of it as putting icing on a cake. You want nice, neat, even layers applied. You want to apply just enough mastic so that the previous layer of fabric is no longer visible. Once you have the second layer of mastic applied, you can begin to install the second layer of fabric. Once again, set the center in place and use your trowel to fully embed the fabric. Once again, cover the layer of fabric with a little more mastic. Here is a finished mastic repair. As you can see, it is neatly applied and the layers are thin. You do not want a large accumulation of mastic. This concludes the demonstration of how to temporarily repair your roof systems until such time as a contractor can make the correct repairs.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. We absolutely appreciate the fact that you took time out of your day to join us on this webinar. In the future, if we can be of assistance in any way by helping you manage and care for your roof or pavement assets, please feel free to call us, email us, contact us any way you want to. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.